Good afternoon, everybody. It's Monday, July 24th, 3:15 p.m., and we have a fairly uneventful day. The S&P 500 is still real strong thanks to the financial sector, but the NASDAQ is flat. Healthcare, pretty much flat, very slightly down. What does stand out today is growth, relative weakness, and you can see that with ARKK down 1%. And you can also see that with IWM. IWM, again, the financial sector is the biggest factor. So for IWM to be down so much, or I should say to be up so much less than XLF and KRE, shows us that growth names are weighing IWM down a bit. And we also see it in AI. So AI, PLTR, they're in the red or flat. XBI, again, growth down almost 2%. So growth names weak, Chinese names strong. That's the main takeaway for me today. Tesla, earnings reaction low is likely set, but keeping in mind we have not confirmed an hourly uptrend yet, so bulls have to pull that off tomorrow. And those are the takeaways. Looking at the futures chart, S&P 500, daily inside bar bull break. Again, we're knocking on the door of 52-week highs. At no point was there any red flag whatsoever on the S&P 500 consolidation because it was just healthy rotation where, yeah, the NASDAQ pulled back for a few days, but XLF and XLV were going straight up. And so, again, you look at this retracement size, and it wasn't even 10%, was it? Yeah, it was, but you get the idea. NASDAQ pullback more significant. We're trying to set the daily high or low. It hasn't been set yet. We're watching the hourly falling wedge attempt. And looking at something like that. I like it better on QQQ, I think. Just the last 3 days. Bear break Friday with no follow through. Bear break today with no follow through. So watching to see if that's a falling wedge into tomorrow. Burden on bulls to set the daily high or low. And then we know that it's going to be Microsoft, Meta, and Google earnings reactions that determine whether or not the NASDAQ bulls keep the daily uptrend. Dollar bulls keeping their control. They're testing the bounce highs. The 4-hour uptrend remains intact. Drew this possible hourly rising wedge this morning, so we'll keep an eye on that resistance coming back into play. And so with that, the metals are at the low of the day. Gold starting to shape up a daily head and shoulders. Silver at EMA 12, but again, pretty decent pullback. Not ideal. If weekly consolidation starts from here, silver's got a lot of space for the weekly high or low. Gold, less convincing. Still possible, but again, just not the ideal setup for confidence. The dollar weekly bounce is underway. We don't have a confirmed daily uptrend at this point. Then the question is going to be, is the dollar a falling wedge because this bear break is not getting a ton of follow through? And we'd be watching something like that. And if this were a weekly falling wedge on the dollar, it could potentially be shaping up a 4-month higher low off EMA 12. So lots to be watching, bigger picture. But for now, what I care about in the short term is the 4-hour uptrend for full bounce control. And when we lose it, we'll zoom out and scout a daily high or low. Miners broke the high of Friday, no follow through. Broke the low of Friday, no follow through. Space for a daily lower high next bounce. Oil remaining strong. Bulls kept control all day, following through from the daily bull break. All about 81.44. Oil is strong. What's energy doing? Space for a daily high or low. Energy sector getting to the highest level in months. We've got natural gas trying for the daily high or low. Bull break this morning, no follow through. Bear break from there, no follow through. So definitely choppy on the short-term time frames. Let's see what the 12-hour looks like. 12-hour EMA 12 trying to hold. But bulls are looking for a daily higher low to be the result of this consolidation. And Bitcoin still struggling to get any kind of bounce going. Hourly is still, or at least it was, a stair step. That has now broken. But pretty much just sideways today. And plenty of space for a 4-hour lower high to be the result of the next bounce on Bitcoin. Check in the live stream. All right. Thanks for the help. So LAC. So LAC, red flag, losing the daily uptrend. Again, what stands out to us? Bull break, consolidation, bull break, consolidation. This was a rising wedge on probably the 4-hour time frame. Had it stand out. We've lost the daily uptrend. We're testing the lowest level in months, 1927. And it's just overall a weak chart. And we have to factor in the market environment as well. We know what SPY has been doing. We know what QQQ has been doing. We know what commodities have been doing the last 2 weeks. 3 weeks, and LAC is just not benefiting from any of that. So we're testing our current low of 1927. If that breaks, we will be in a monthly, weekly, daily downtrend, hourly downtrend, every single time frame. And so the only hope for the bulls at this point would be then 1843, because again, we can view this as low, high, higher low. If 1927 breaks, then we have a new lower high being set, and it's all about 1843 from there. But it is tightening up, and the volume is declining, which tells us a break of this tightening range and a volume spike is coming. But it may be a bear break. Plenty of space for a daily lower high to be the result of the next bounce. This is the kind of chart where, it's worth keeping an eye on and paying attention to any kind of momentum shift, just because the 4-month time frame is tightening up and trying for a higher low. But we just have to recognize that the bulls are not proving a thing to us on this chart at this point. And that would have to change for bulls to get interested. XLF is all bulls, so I was watching for potential daily consolidation today, and it was very clear first thing that was not happening. So daily stair-step pattern continues now for 6 days in a row. Hourly uptrend is our guide. And the resistance is 36.76 for the longer-term monthly tightening range. And if that breaks bull, then we're going to have everything bullish and looking at all-time highs. We already know healthcare broke bull. So this is a key resistance test, similar to IWM testing its key monthly resistance, the double top at 198 that we rejected from last week. And even when we do lose the daily stair step, we've got plenty of space for a daily higher low to be the result of that consolidation. And KRE testing the high of Friday, it broke, so daily stair step there as well. Bulls keeping control in the financial sector with a very strong few weeks. Airbnb. Also continuing to grind the daily uptrend. We've been grinding daily EMA 12 as well. There's a short-term support at 143.50. I personally wouldn't consider it a loss of the daily uptrend if that level were lost, but we can use that as a short-term support level. Bigger picture, highest level in 52 weeks. So another one of the names that's got the 4-month bounce underway and watching for the potential of a 4-month lower high to be the result of this bounce with tons of space for that to form. But we've got the bulls in full short-term control still. So if we were to lose 143.50 from here, we would likely lose daily EMA 12 support as well. And we would likely start weekly consolidation. So I do like 143.50 as a support level to be watching in the short term. As far as next resistance after the 150 current high, we are looking at 158.74 as a level from the way down. Question from Friday, how would I play the Veil monthly on the daily time frame? So it's a monthly equilibrium, and the monthly high or low is set. In an ideal world, it would have been, I'll talk about ideal and then I'll talk about now. So in the ideal world, we have the weekly trend change is the first indication to us that a monthly high or low is being set. The weekly high or low was set very quickly, just out of nowhere. Just boom. So, all right, oh man, I missed it. Well, then you look for the daily high or low. I don't know if I assume that was not earnings because there's no volume there, but daily bull flag, back test and hold of EMA 12, first hourly oversold conditions. There's your entry. So first hourly oversold after the big bull break, anticipating the daily high or low is most likely. Now we have confirmed the daily uptrend and confirmed the weekly uptrend on the same candle. So ideal was first hourly oversold after the bulls proved the weekly. That's the scenario where I say, I want an entry where I say that's the high or low or I'm wrong. So that's a big enough move where that's the weekly high or low or we're wrong, and we look for the entry on the consolidation. So it was an hourly back burner that played out really well. At this point, it's looking for an entry on daily consolidation with anything above 1383 as a daily high or low. And we're going to anticipate a monthly lower high as the most likely scenario for a continued tightening range, which may play out all year. Bulls have to follow through to 16 to get to the midpoint of this equilibrium. And again, it's the same concept as the Microsoft swing trade. From way back when, it was just, I missed the initial move. Like, oh, that's either the weekly high or low or I'm wrong. I'm entering on daily consolidation. Knowing that a daily high or low is the most likely scenario after the big bull move that I missed. Microsoft. So Microsoft's a daily inside bar. Earnings are going to determine things here in the short term. We're either going to start weekly consolidation on a bear reaction with 327 as key support, or look at the all-time high test on a bull reaction. If earnings were not a factor, we would be scouting a daily lower high to be the most likely result of the next bounce, knowing that we can go up 5%. Maybe not that much. Yeah, 5% is still a daily lower high. But again, earnings are going to dictate things here. We know monthly consolidation will eventually be inevitable with a 6-month stair-step pattern. It's just a question of bullish reaction to earnings or bearish. So Tesla, we've got the daily bounce underway by breaking the high of Friday. We know we have not confirmed an hourly uptrend. So hourly consolidation, if we had more time in the day, we'd be looking for hourly consolidation right now. The bulls ideally would want to hold EMA 12 on the back test for an hourly bull flag. And then from there, we zoom out and scout a daily low or high. Anything under 300. And then the next question is going to be the question on anything that pulls back significantly, including PLTR and all these other names. Can the bears confirm a daily downtrend? We'll watch the bounce retracement size. The bulls are going to have to get back to 277 for 50% plus bounce retracement. DE. Daily stair-step pattern. 7 days in a row, high or low every day. Right at resistance. We technically broke resistance, but no follow-through at the moment. The weekly chart definitely a bit extended into that resistance test. Bulls definitely want follow-through because otherwise it's a monthly rising wedge shaping up. But don't have to worry about that now. We're going to look for a daily high or low to be the result of consolidation when we lose the hourly uptrend. And there's plenty of space for a weekly high or low next consolidation as well. I do notice a correlation between Chinese names and the NASDAQ. It can be ignored, but it is definitely present. But the volume that came in today is for real. And so now we're going to be looking at weekly resistance here. 28.82 and 29.25. We're looking for an hourly high or low on consolidation. And if you look back at this volume and this green candle, you don't see any fake outs with that. So we're going to look for follow through. If the NASDAQ were to see fear, if the market sees fear, if we see all major sectors dropping together, then it can definitely have a significant impact. FXI divided by QQQ is showing us the most bullish correlation day that we've had in many, many months. I mean, we're going back the entire year almost. So are we about to see laggard Chinese name FXI gain on the NASDAQ with this falling wedge-like pattern? What does this remind me of? Do you remember Amazon divided by QQQ? It had a similar falling wedge type of pattern mark a very significant correlation shift. So that's what we're paying attention to, that correlation there. Let's go BABA out of curiosity. I haven't looked at these yet. So BABA confirming the daily uptrend on the correlation chart. As far as a clear pivot, let's condense it. 2-day time frame. When's the last time BABA divided by QQQ had a 2-day uptrend? Hasn't happened pretty much all year. January. So this is the attempt at a shift. And it's one big day. But it's exactly what bulls want to see. And now we're looking for attempt at follow through. So definitely worth paying attention to that correlation. Bulls want to ensure that it continues to shift longer term to try and see a cycle bottom. I mean, you look at the monthly chart. It's been weaker than the NASDAQ forever. Many decades, so we're not going to go for a huge home run here. Let's just start with a monthly bounce attempt. DIS, So bears still in control here. The weekly lower highs are a guide, as is weekly EMA 12 resistance. Daily is struggling in the upper 87s. We've topped out at 87, 89, 90, and 96. We can call that a triple top. It's a potential bear flag still. Two-day lower highs are nice and clear. So we're watching for a two-day lower high. Anything under 90.81. And again, the burden is certainly on bulls. If the bears confirm an hourly downtrend from here tomorrow, that will increase the probabilities of the bear flag. So still certainly weak overall. Tesla's still hanging on pretty strong overall. Let's check back in on these Chinese names real quick that we're looking for hourly higher lows. NIO, just about 5-minute oversold, didn't quite get there. XPEV. So I'd be scouting hourly bull flags in these names if it were, noon right now. DQ. DQ is a Chinese name. Yep. So DQ is a very different setup. I would not put these in the category. I mean, obviously it's a Chinese company, but it's not in the setup for a monthly inverse head and shoulders that we're looking at on Baba and all these other names. It's a clear weekly downtrend. We are testing support. There is an attempt to hold support, but it's not the same setup. You look at the difference here. Again, the whole entire reason I have interest in these Chinese names is the monthly inverse head and shoulders. FXI. K-Web. So for me, to be in Dan's Chinese stock names, you've got to have a monthly inverse head and shoulders trying to shape up. And of course, NIO. We were watching NIO and XPEV to be laggard growth names because of their 4-month time frames and their bases of support that were being established. NIO was the weekly falling wedge that we had interest in. So, they're in their own subsector. They're not the monthly inverse head and shoulders, but they definitely have been great laggard growth bulls over the last 6 weeks. And XPEV was just the sideways range, and if we clear 1310, there is no resistance. So different setups in that regard, but all I care about is monthly inverse head and shoulders and Chinese EV stocks. And JD it's similar, but it's more of a falling wedge because we didn't have the right shoulder on the inverse head and shoulders. We gave it back and hit a fresh low with no follow through. But big bull engulfing, trying to shape up the daily uptrend. And if we clear 40.68, we'll be at the highest level in 4 months, 3 months, 3.5 months. That's a surprising weakness. Look at CCJ. CCJ is the uranium bull. weekly lower high set. So I'm viewing this, what stands out to me is, yes, it's a potential head and shoulders, but I'm looking at it as a low, high, higher low, lower high. And if you look at CCJ divided by it's just CCJ is clearly the bull in the sector, strongest it's been in many years. I'm actually surprised that it's this weak comparatively to the sector leader. But it looks like earnings are next week, and it may be earnings that dictate how we break this tightening range. PayPal, daily higher low set, so new benchmark of support is 71.83. Not quite a weekly stair step, but I would be treating it as one. $78 key resistance. Monthly lower highs have been in play ever since the all-time high, so we've got to break the monthly lower highs for something to be shifting significantly. And the daily uptrend is our guide. When we lose it, we'll look for a weekly higher low. Earnings next week. I'd be starting to look bearish on VZ if earnings weren't tomorrow. Looks like some bounce exhaustion. So the question for tomorrow, can QQQ set the daily higher low? Can ARKK join? Do we see daily consolidation shaping up in the financial sector, or do they remain lead bulls? Probably going to walk my stop up on the remaining KRE swing and use, it's not a clear daily higher low, but use 4610 just to have a tighter leash. CHWI definitely struggling longer term. We've got monthly lower high set. And now it's all about 2910 support from here. So Tesla keeping that relative strength pretty much all day. And Netflix has a double top that'll be of interest tomorrow. That level has to break for the earnings bottom to be set. And again, I just mean temporary bottoms because we know Netflix could easily do that. But at least to get the daily bounce going. And we rejected from resistance. From Friday, it was 428.95, 428.81 at the end of the day, 428.36 today. So that's going to be a key resistance level on watch tomorrow. IWM is clear. It's just a strong daily uptrend. We've been bull IWM ever since this resistance break at 179.28. We then back tested and held it. And it's all about one night. We're either going to lose the daily uptrend or break to the highest level in over a year. And there are no red flags whatsoever on this daily consolidation at this point. Lose daily EMA 12, that will be the first little red flag. But this at the moment is healthy consolidation. The only trade for a bear is a top fish. That's what an aggressive bear is doing, shorting with a stop over 199. But we've been setting daily higher lows on IWM for the last month. And it is a very key longer-term resistance test that will only be a clear rejection if we lose the daily uptrend. The signal that IWM and growth names were the place to be looking as laggards was the bull break of this weekly resistance. Look at how we rejected. It was talking about weekly EMA 12 as the guide. It just kept rejecting. And that was the bull signal to get over it for the first time. And since that point, all of June and July has been growth name laggard bull catch-up. And now it's just a key resistance test. And we would have to see significant financial sector weakness to clearly reject from this resistance. All right. See you live tomorrow morning, and we'll get some answers to the question about whether the NASDAQ is a daily higher low or not. If it is, I'll be watching Netflix to try and break the double top into daily bounce. And we'll see if these Chinese names can get any follow through after the big volume day in many names. Have a good rest of your day.